Hello. Yeah, good morning everyone. Hello. Good morning everyone. Hello. In the last class we have started with what are the various financial factors that is considered for the system analysis, or what are the various factors that is used in this for the maintenance or for acquisition for the hardware and the software selection. So the acquisition and the payment for the computer system that is generally used, or that are usually handled through one of the mechanisms, through one of the common method that is used for the financial factors, that is either through the rental, either through the lease or the purchase. So we can use, or the system analyst can use any of the factors, any of the common method for the financial factors, either rental, either lease or the purchase. And determining which option is appropriate depends on the characteristics and the plans of the organization. This depends on the characteristics and the plans of the organization at the time the acquisition is made. That is, which one is to determine, or which one is accessing, or which one is going to access the organization at the time when the acquisition is made. No one option is always better than the other. That means no one option, that means nothing is better than the something. In the same way, no one option is always better than the other. Now, when we talk about the computer rental in the last class, that means computer rental is for the short-term usage of the system. That is generally ranging from the 1 to 12 months. That means we are taking the duration, we are taking the lease, or we are taking on the rent that ranges from the 1 month to the 12 months, and each month a payment is made. Like your rental system, rental home system, that means every month you have to pay the payment. So each month the payment is made for the use of the equipment. Both the user and the supplier have the option of cancelling the rental with advance notice, usually 30 to 60 days ahead of the termination. So with the use of the terminations, they have option of cancelling the rental with advance notice, usually that range from the 30 to 60 days or 30 or 60 days ahead of the termination date. And because the commitment is a short term, the rental has a great deal of flexibility. Why? Because the commitment is a short-term commitment, that it has a great deal of the flexibility. But when we talk about the flexibility in the sense, when an organization is experiencing the rapid growth, they are slowing down the rental. When they are outgrowing a specific system in a brief period, that means they are pull out the rental system. So it depends on the organization to organization how the rental system will be used. Either increase the rent or either decrease the rent without affecting the computer resources or computing resources, or when the enterprise is in a period of dynamic change. And when we compared with the other acquisition methods, so this is one of the expensive methods. So advantage is that it provides a great deal of flexibility, but the disadvantage is that there is a rental is one of the expensive methods that is used. Monthly payments are higher, and the organization does not receive any tax or ownership benefits other than the deduction of the monthly rental as a business expense. Next is a lease. Uh, we have all. Yes, we already discussed about the lease. Now, payments are the predetermined and do not change throughout the course of the lease. That means in the rental, the payment is not determined. We can say that it's determined, but there is the flexibility of the rental system. But on a lease, payments are predetermined and do not change throughout the course of the lease. And depending on the terms of the lease, payments are monthly, quarterly, semi-annual, annual, and include the cost of the equipment service and the maintenance. At the end of the lease period, the lessor generally does not own the equipment. If that is not the case and the equipment becomes the property of the lessor, the Internal Revenue Service consider the agreement. So that the Internal Revenue Service, that means IRS, that consider the agreement as a conditional sale, and the entire transaction must then be treated as a purchase. That transaction is treated as a purchase on the lease. Now, when we compare with the rental system, the lease is one of the less expensive method as compared to the rental, because there is a longer commitment. The supplier will generally provide better services, and the user can take the account of having the system available for use. What are the various systems that is for the use, and how is that possible for the usage of the system? Leasing protects against the technical or obsolescence that is used, always a concern when purchasing the computer equipment. And if the lease term is short, the lessor can upgrade to a more powerful system even though the lease has not been expired. So even though the lease is not expired, they are using the extra powerful system providing the system is acquired from the same manufacturer. So this is the one of the condition, that the system is acquired system is used from the same manufacturers or from the same manufacturers. No capital investment is required to lease a computer system. That means there's no usage of the capital investment, or there's no money required, or no capital investment is required to lease a computer system. Leasing offers, yeah, just wait, Joseph. Leasing also offers a specific tax advantages. So in addition to deducting the cost of the lease as a business expense, tax credit are sometimes business pays. In some cases, the title for the equipment can even be passed to the lessors, and a legal assistant is needed to investigate the current terms and the condition that is allowed by the IRS at the time such a transaction is considered. So at the time of the consideration, at the time of the sales, there is a IRS that is available when the transaction is considered. So one is a rental, one is a purchase, one is a rental, one is a lease, next one is a purchase. Now, purchase means the ownership of the computers through outright purchase is the most common method. This is not the he, this is the THE. So ownership of the computer through outright purchase is the most common method of computer acquisition, and increase in popularity as least cost arise. As the least cost arise, they are getting for the least cost method. They're getting for the method that is used in the least cost. And over time, the purchase options and there's over time. That means with the time, the purchase options so under the purchase, the organization takes the title or takes the title to the equipment, whatever the equipment that is used, and of course the money for the purchase must be taken for operating the funds, whatever the money that is required for operating the funds, or the borrowed money, and in the sense. Or in a sense, the organization is locked into the system it purchases, since changing to a different computer system is very difficult. So it's very difficult to change the environment. And since changing to a different is more difficult because the entire system is available, or entire system is sold, or arrangement must be negotiated or to trade in a different computer. So either the system must be sold out, or on the renting or the leasing. It depends, or depending on the terms arranged by the purchaser. And in return for the outgoing cash, purchaser must specific or must have a specific tax advantages. So there is a specific tax advantages that is also available for the outgoing cash. Now, what are the various advantages? The monthly maintenance charge are deductible as a business expense. Interest on any loan to finance the purchase is a deductible as a business purchase or business expense. The cost of the equipment can be depreciated over the time, so can be depreciated over the time, and this also lowers the taxable amount. And therefore the income tax paid. In the same way, local, state, and the federal taxes paid on the purchase may be deductible from the income taxes. And when we talk about the purchase option, that also indicates the use of the depreciation to reduce the taxes. So they are using the depreciation method. That means their value will be reduced whenever we purchase any material, any hardware. Their value will be decreased or automatically. That is known as the depreciation. And in a sense, the depreciation deductions on the income tax reduces the cost of the computer to the organization. And this benefit is not possible under the lease agreement. This is possible only within the purchase document or the purchase methods. And of course, the tax benefits described apply only to the firms that operate for the profit. Non-profit firms is not that do not pay the income taxes, that do not receive the tax benefit from the computer purchase. It's only used for the profitable profit firms, and this is not used for the non-profit firms that do not pay any income taxes, that do not receive tax benefit from purchase or from computer purchase. This is not the firm. This is from the firm. Now, when we talk about the comparison of these methods, one is a rental, advantages, disadvantages, lease, advantages, disadvantages, purchase, advantages, disadvantages. So when we compare the different methods, different financial factors, so first one is a rental. What is the advantage? There is a short-term commitment, high level of flexibility, does not require the cash upfront. So there's a short-term commitment, there is a high level of flexibility and does not require any cash upfront. And what is the disadvantage of the rental? Most expensive option. Little control of the equipment change. Not all the vendors will rent. Then when we talk about the lease, that is the next method, that is a lease. So predefined or predetermined payment for the fixed period. Does not require any cash up front. Usually better service from the vendor than under the literals. Little risk of the obsolescence, less expensive than the renter. Then when you talk about the disadvantages, more expensive than the purchase and may have limitations on the hours of the equipment used. So there's a limitation that you are using this many hours. These are the hours that is used for the rent. So you have to limit on the hours that is used for the lease. The next one is a purchase, least cost in long run, distinct tax advantage if the profit making the firm, a business investment, there is a full control over the equipment use. So there's a full control of the equipment use that is occupied for the purchase. What is the disadvantage in the purchase? There is a risk of the obsolescence. That means it is going to be wear and tear whenever you be using the obsolescence. Then permanent commitment, full responsibility for all the problems, greater early cash requirement than the other option. So that is a purchase. Next one is a maintenance and the support. What are the various maintenance terms that is used? What are the various terms that is used for the support systems? So and this is an additional factor that is required. Beyond the financial factor, there is an additional factor that is also used, that is known as the maintenance, or that concerns the maintenance and the support of the system after it is installed. Primary concerns are the sources of maintenance terms and the response time. What are the various maintenance terms? What are the various terms and what are the various response times that is used, that is required for the financial or primary concern? First one is a maintenance source. What is the meaning of the maintenance, how it will help for the system development? So once the system is delivered and installed, there is a brief warranty period during which the time the sales unit is responsible for maintenance. So once the system is delivered, once we have done with the delivery of the system, we have done with the installation, there is a brief warranty period during which time the sales unit is responsible for maintenance. So after this or during that warranty period, sales unit is responsible for maintenance, and this is typically a 90-day period. All the specific term fair subject to the contract the negotiation. After that time, the purchaser has the option that acquires the maintenance or acquiring the maintenance from the various sources. So first of all, the system is delivered and installed, and there is a brief warranty period during which the sales unit is responsible for the maintenance, and this is typically a 90-day period, although the specific term fair subject to contract the negotiation. And the most common source of maintenance for the new equipment is the firm from which it was purchased. So that is the firm from which it was purchased, that is used for the maintenance. And service is also available from the companies specializing in providing the maintenance service. Service is also available. There are multiple services that is available for the maintenance purpose, that is used for the maintenance, that is acquired for the maintenance sales. And in addition, a seller of the turkey system, for example, who deliver and install the working hardware and the software combination, but do not manufacture the equipment themselves. That is using the specific third-party maintenance firm with whom they work directly and inform the changes in the hardware, software, and suggested maintenance procedures. Next is what are the terms that is used in the maintenance. So in formulating a maintenance agreement, the terms of the agreement are as important as the cost. That means what are the various terms, what are the various policies that is occupied, that are known as the terms. So the contract may be written to cover both the labor and the parts. That means both the labor cost and well as the parts of the of the hardware will be covered. And the type of the contract desired depends on the expenditure that the organization is willing to make in comparison. So, for example, the organization has a budget of the 40,000 per month or per year. So this depends according to the budget of the organization that will make the comparisons how frequently it will use or how frequently it will estimate the service if it required. And the most common form is the labor and the part form. That's the most common type of the contract for the large system. And when I talk about the analyst, that should consider how maintenance cost will change, and large manufacturers have established policy of adjusting their maintenance charges as on an annual or the semi-annual basis. That will use the charges of this. Now let's see what are the various. Yeah, first of all, tell me any doubts, anyone? So now let's see what are the various maintenance and what are the various services and the responses that is available for the maintenance part. So when we talk about the maintenance, that means if there is any maintenance required after the implementation of the system, that is a maintenance. In the same way, if there's any service that is required for the maintenance and there is any response, that is a feedback that is given by the system analyst or that is given by the end user, that is a response. So maintenance support is useful only if it is available when it is needed. And two concerns in maintenance are the response time when the service is requested and the hours of the support. So there are two concerns that is used in the maintenance are the response time when the service is requested and the hours of the support. When a telephone call is placed for emergency maintenance with the technician or the engineer be dispatched immediately, that may be unlikely. That may be unlikely for the user or the technician or the engineer that is available that is dispatched immediately. That may be unlikely. However, the user has a right to expect an unreasonable response time after making an emergency call. The user has a right to expect an unreasonable or a reasonable response time after making an emergency phone call. Organizations often specify in the contract and the response in a telephone or response of a telephone call must be made within 2 hours. Others also specify that the same day response will be required. So it depends on the Yes, it depends on the emergency and we can say the priority that is given for the maintenance part. The degree of the dependency the user organization has on the computer system will detect how these terms are negotiated. An online system that is in use 24 hours a day will need a much quicker response. So whenever we are using the online system that is available 24 hours in a day, and that means or that is needed or that requires a quicker response that is used intermittently for the batch processing, and when the desktop computer are in use, an alternative to the on-site support is available in the form of carry-in service. So the user delivers a computer to the dealer or the maintenance agency for the repairs, and while you wait or someday service is possible for the problems that requires a longer repair time, a rental system may be available. So when you talk about the longer repair systems, in that case we are using the financial factor, we are using the rental systems. When we talk about the repair service, that is often provided during the normal working hours, and if an organization wishes evening service or around the clock coverage, it is usually available for the extra charge, say from 10% to 50% additional cost. However, equally important is the need for performing the preventive maintenance, the routine service of cleaning and adjusting the equipment to prevent the breakdowns. And whenever we are contracting for the maintenance, whenever we are doing for the maintenance, a schedule or preventive maintenance must be agreed on in advance, and information about the manufacturers also suggested that the preventive maintenance cycle and the procedure should be filled in the system department, including in the service agreements. In addition to this, and in all instances, in all examples, the stocking of the sufficient spare part is very important, since good service is impossible if the spare parts are not available in this one. And the user organizations should obtain sufficient assurances about the adequate parts inventory in the advance of the need. Now, what are the various options to the in-house system? What are the various categories of the in-house system? What are the various options to the in-house system? So less common options for the computer support includes the use of the service bureaus and facilities management companies. A service bureau is a company that owns the computer facilities and makes them available to the users whenever it performs for a charge. And the user submit a data for the processing that is used for the in-house system and the service bureau on the bureau computer system. And in some cases also the organization has to maintain a directly relationship with the computers. So they have a direct relationship with the computer that is followed for the maintenance part, that is followed for the service bureau for the computer system. And in some cases, organizations interact directly with the computer through terminals located in the user's offices. And there is usually a monthly cost plus a charge that varies according to the amount of time the user is in communication with the system. Then additional fees may be charged for storing the data, mounting the magnetic disk and the tapes, or printing the pages. That is for a charge that varies according to the amount of time that user needed. And some service bureaus also provide the data processing software or data processing service. That bureau prepares the data for the input, handles each and every processing, that is handles all the processing, and may even provide the pickup and the delivery service. So one is the input, then processing, that is handle all the processing, and then pickup and the delivery service. And custom programming is also available for the charge. And the usage of service bureau is very common in accounting and the payroll application. So when we talk about the payroll, that means a salary package or the salary software, and also used in the accounting applications that firms uses the or data processing services in these area, but do not purchase the or want to take the purchase equipment or the hire the system. Facilities management companies also provide a service to companies that wish to develop the information system capabilities that will prefer not to maintain a staff of the operators, analysts, and the programmers. And through facilities management, an organization can obtain the professional information processing and service without investing time and resources in managing a system staff while still receiving the benefits of owning a computer system. So through the facilities management system, then organization can obtain the professional information processing and the service without investing the time and the resources in managing a system staff while still receiving the benefits of owning a computer system that is used for maintaining a computer system that provides the benefit of owning a computer system. The next one is vendor selection. This step is also determines a winner among the list of the vendors available. So if, for example, if in the list there are 10 vendors available, so who is the winner? Who is going to take the charge of the ownership? Who is the vendor over here? So this step determines the winner among the list of the vendors available, and the vendor with the best combination of the reputation. So it depends on the reputation of the vendor. It depends on the reliability. We can rely, that is a trustworthy service record that is on the paper. What is the record of that owner or that vendor? Training, delivery time, lease finance terms, and conversion schedule that is selected out. So that is a vendor selection. And initially a decision is made as to which vendor to contact. That means which vendor is used for the vendor selection or which vendor is used for the selecting of the vendors. So sources available to check on the vendors includes, first one is users, then application houses, trade associations, universities, publications. These are the various sources that is available to check on the vendors. That includes for who are the users, or that is checked by the users only, software houses, trade unions, universities, publications, industry contacts, then vendors annual financial statement, Then consultants, publish directories, vendor referral directories, vendor software lists. So these are the various vendor selection areas by which we can select that which is the vendor that is suitable for the organization, that is suitable for the system. So after this data is gathered about a vendor, it is matched with the selection criteria, and few of the selected vendors are invited to give presentation of their systems. So few of the selected vendors, a few of the selected criteria, vendors are invited to give presentation of their system. And the system chosen goes through contract negotiation before implementation. So whatever the system that is that chosen goes, that is going for the negotiation before the implementation.